Breaking tonight, Dr. Ben Carson is just back from a 3-day trip to our ally Jordan in the Middle East, the country that now houses hundreds of thousands of Syrian refugees fleeing ISIS. And he thinks he may have a solution to this problem of where to house these refugees. All this as Dr. Carson takes some heat back at home for comments he made about the Planned Parenthood shooting. Joining me now, retired neurosurgeon and Republican presidential candidate, Dr. Ben Carson. Doctor, great to see you. Welcome back. Let's start with the Planned Parenthood issue, because you were asked on the CBS Sunday morning show yesterday with John Dickerson about what your thoughts were when it comes to those who were suggesting pro-life rhetoric may have played a role in the shooting. Let me play the exchange.
Some abortion rights supporters have said that the rhetoric has led to that kind of violence. What's your view on that?
There is no question that, hateful rhetoric, no matter which side it comes from, right or left, is something that is detrimental to our society. This has been a big problem.
Should those who oppose abortion rights tone down their rhetoric?
I think both sides should tone down their rhetoric and engage in civil discussion.
So the pro-life crowd, many of them are very unhappy with that comment. Do you want to dial it back at all?
Well, what they need to do is look at my record. I've spent my whole life as a pro-life advocate trying to save lives, operating on little babies, premature babies, babies in the womb. And I don't think any candidate has been involved in raising as much money for pro-life issues as I have. So, when something is said that someone might try to interpret as being anti-pro-life, that's just silly when you look at it against the
What was the angry rhetoric by the pro-lifers to which you were referring?
Well, there are some pro-lifers who will say things like, I can understand why somebody might come into an abortion clinic and shoot it up. That's kind of over the top. But in terms of saying things like, killing babies, I say that myself. That's what it is. You can't sanitize that. But I don't think that's hateful rhetoric. That's just the truth. But on the left side, they engage in such hateful rhetoric by saying that anybody who doesn't want a woman to have an abortion is anti-woman. I think that's very over the top and completely untrue.
The pro-lifers have come out. Some of them, Troy Newman, who's a board member on the Center for Medical Progress, which made those Planned Parenthood undercover videos, he came out and said you just ended your candidacy. Students for Life came out and said you took your talking points from Planned Parenthood. They think just because maybe a couple of random people uncited here may have made comments like that, it's disingenuous to paint the entire pro-life movement with the brush of hateful rhetoric. Do you believe that's what you did?
No, I don't think that I did at all. I'm talking about people who make statements over the top. But here was the real key point. The key point is that one of the things that is destroying America is that people will not sit down and talk. They want to just demonize each other. Somebody has to be the mature one. I think the appropriate people to do that are going to be the pro-life people, because they have much better arguments. It's very difficult for somebody who is pro-abortion to sit down and explain why it's okay to take this little baby who has features that we can all recognize, eyes and ears and hearts,
and the other side is focused on
pull them apart.
The baby. Okay,
but they have to be able to explain that.
Let me shift gears with you, if I may, because you just got back from Jordan, and your impressions over there, the solution that you came up with was that we should be giving more money to Jordan, who should house more of these refugees coming out of Syria, because your conclusion was the Syrians, they don't want to come here.
Well, I had an opportunity to talk to several Syrians, talking to the Jordanians. I was very impressed by how open they were and how willing they were to bring even more refugees. They just said they didn't have enough money to do it. They had lots more space and ability. But the Syrians themselves were pretty adamant about the fact that they want to go back to Syria. That's what they're looking for. And when asked what America could do, they said they could help the Jordanians. The Jordanians are having a very difficult time financially being able to support the efforts.
But where do we get the money? Because we've already given
is
Jordan $4 billion. You say maybe another $3 billion could help, but where are we going to get it?
It doesn't have to come from the government. The people can do it. The people have plenty of money, and they also are very compassionate.
That's a novel concept, Dr. Carson. So novel. It doesn't have to come from the government. That's going to be the big headline. But wait, I want to ask you one quick question before we have to wrap, and that involves one of your competitors in the 2016 race. Donald Trump today had this dust-up with some pastors. They suggested that these guys were going to endorse him. Then they had to walk that back. He this morning suggested the reason they walked back their allegedly, promised endorsement was because they had probably been pressured by the Black Lives Matter movement. Do you believe that?
I have no idea whether that's true or not, but I respect those pastors for standing up for what they believe in. They may end up endorsing him, but they at least want to hear, discuss it among themselves, and decide what they want to do, and they have every right to do that. So I respect them for doing that.
Do you think you're in the running for those endorsements that didn't go his way?
Well, I certainly hope I'm in the running for everybody's endorsement if they will actually listen to what I'm saying as opposed to what's being interpreted as me saying.
Dr. Carson, great to see you.
You too. Thank you, Megyn.